It's Gorman in the morning with Fletcher and Ryder. Now, 92 KQRS.
Gorman in the morning on Minnesota's 92 KQRS. Good Friday morning. I am here with Fletcher.
Holy cow, it's blowing out there today this morning.
Ryder is
These
on
go to
hand.
11. These go to 11.
They do go to 11.
Yeah.
Let's do it. Man, the wind is a whipping.
Yeah.
It's been a whipping.
There was one moment driving in where I clear Rogers and this wind really opens up on the highway.
Okay.
And, man, I wasn't really awake yet.
Okay.
I was awake then.
There it is.
It gave the little Mini Cooper a little jolt out on the highway. Yeah.
A little
Freaked me out.
little lane swapping.
Yeah.
Very, very nice. All right. We've got other stories about the wind to get into later today, I'm sure.
Yeah. Right.
Do we?
I don't know. Maybe.
Okay.
We do,
I don't know.
actually.
I did watch a really large branch fall off a tree yesterday. That was kind of cool.
Yeah.
I mean, nobody was hurt. Nobody was nearby.
Yeah.
But more importantly than that, my God, I'm feeling Minnesota, which is, of course, a good indicator that it's time for headlines. Paul?
Absolutely. Speaking of wind, yesterday ended up being a pretty insane weather day. While most of the state at one point was under a tornado watch, warnings also included a rare tornado warning for downtown Minneapolis around 2:25. Were you feeling that at all? I mean,
Oh, yeah.
Yeah?
No, the sirens were blasting.
Yeah.
It was suggested to me that I go to the basement
And did you?
by a well-meaning neighbor. I was like, no, what are you talking about? I'm in the middle of a big city. I think I'm going to be okay.
I was in this tiny pocket where we got nothing in my neighborhood.
Really?
Yeah, it was like a little light rain and the sirens are blowing. My husband's texting me. I'm like, no, we're fine, dude.
Well, we didn't get a ton of rain, but it was really, really windy. I mean,
Yeah.
It truly was. Like I as I said, I just watched a giant branch just fall, and I was like, hey, that just happened. That's that could have hurt somebody.
It's funny, Ryder. You're like, nah, we're fine. You sound like my wife out in Albertville. She's like, the serious stuff always misses us. I'm like, and this is a bad thing?
Yeah.
She's like, I want the excitement. I'm like, no,
Nah.
I don't want to deal with it.
I want the new roof that I'm going to get when my insurance comes in.
Fair enough. After it was all said and done, 10 tornadoes were reported across the state in western Wisconsin. So it was a pretty crazy day all in all. Good news and bad news for the ongoing wildfires up north. The good, rain did hit parts of the fires. That combined with lower temps and reduced wind did have significant impact and help firefighters make progress. The bad news is all three fires are still 0% contained. However, it doesn't sound like they spread. So I guess we'll take that as a positive day, right?
It could have been worse.
Yeah, absolutely. Who had this on their trio? Who had this trio on their bingo card for this year? Ed Sheeran, the pop guy, Dave Grohl, John Mayer have all teamed up for a new song called Drive, which will appear in the upcoming F1 movie starring Brad Pitt. Sheeran previewed the song on his Instagram story yesterday.
Dave
Okay.
Grohl on drums for that one?
Yeah,
Okay.
Dave on drums, John Mayer on the axe, of course, and Ed doing the vocal. Today is National Barbecue Day, and if you want to take your holiday grilling to a new level, consider filling that grill with beer coal from Kingsford and Miller Lite. It's the ultimate collab for grilling, if you ask me. This is apparently going to give your steaks, burgers, ribs, whatever you're doing, a little extra kick of flavor. Kingsford had a limited rollout of this stuff in 2022, 2023. I didn't even hear about that, but it's going nationwide for the first time now.
Does this mean you don't need to stuff the beer can up the chicken's butt?
I think you probably would still do that.
You still want to do that?
I think
Yeah.
you still want to do that. I think you still want to do that regardless.
Yeah.
It's just fun.
Yeah, I think even if you're not going to eat it, just get an empty can of beer or a full can of beer and stuff it in the chicken's butt.
Yeah.
I can't see Ryder doing this.
No?
No.
I'm not a barbecuer. I'm a griller. Like, I know enough about that stuff to know what I'm doing is not barbecuing.
There you go.
It is grilling.
All right.
And it takes time and preparation, and it just doesn't seem like it's in your wheelhouse.
And I like propane and propane accessories.
That's
I don't have a charcoal grill.
Neither do I.
The queen of propane, they call her. Anytime I walk by a grill with actual charcoal briquettes going, it is. You know how memories are triggered by smells. I mean, it is early childhood. Every Saturday was hot dogs and hamburgers. That was just every Saturday of every summer at the old Gorman household. Hot dogs and hamburgers
You
on the
sound
big old
salty about
on
that.
the Weber grill. No.
Okay.
I mean, it just overwhelms me. And this can be any time of day, any day of the year. When I smell an honest to God charcoal grill, I have that momentary, Aw.
Yeah.
Like I can hear Alice Cooper on the AM transistor radio. I'm waiting for my second hot dog. Oh, it's good stuff, man.
I like that.
That said, also a fan of the propane grill.
Yeah.
I don't have time for that crap.
It takes way too long. Yeah. It does taste good. Every now and then we dig it out when we have like family gatherings at mom and dad's house, but it just takes way too long for me.
Sure.
Just give me propane.
Sure it does. Let's talk sports. Okay, first the good news from Baltimore. The Minnesota Twins won again. That's 11 straight. Top of the third inning yesterday in their 4-0 victory over the Orioles. A rarity for the Twins. First time in since last July. Kiersey Jr. and then Byron Buxton went back-to-back.
He stays and the 3-2, and Kersey sends one high and deep to right field. Back it goes and gone. Deshaun Kersey Jr. now has 2 big league home runs and now Buxton unloads high and deep to left center. Back it goes and that is gone. Twins go back-to-back.
Back-to-back on
Kersey,
consecutive pitches, by the way, from Sugano, and now that was great. And then they went on to win the game.
They call Camden Yards the most home run friendly ballpark in the league. Is that true?
Wow.
I thought it was
the Coors Field, but
these days maybe it is.
Okay,
could be. I'm not sure. I know I will say this. This is not an Orioles fan talking. It's the best stadium in the league. I've never
really?
You got it. It is worth a trip. I can't believe I'm saying this. Worth a trip to Baltimore to go to Camden Yards. It's the first of the throwback stadiums, and for my opinion, and for what it's worth, still absolutely the best. Now the bad news. In the bottom of that same third inning, there was a pop-up into shallow center. Byron Buxton and Carlos Correa, our center fielder and our shortstop, forgot a very important lesson in baseball, which is talk.
And got in on Mullins to shallow center. Correa out. Buxton in. Talk guys in. It's caught as Buxton and Correa do make contact and both are down. So the catch was made, but now concern as Correa went out. Buxton came in. There was contact and both are on their backs here.
Yeah, they both went down hard. Correa especially. He took it's hard to see exactly what hit him in the head, but something, a shoulder or maybe even Buxton's head. Either way, both players removed and placed on the 7-day concussion injured list. Oh, that's a couple of good ball players we're not going to see for a week. So
with a streak intact.
On the run into center. Into short center. Please scream, mine. Just as a quick heads up.
Like a 4-year-old.
Like a 4-year-old.
That's a center fielder's ball, right?
Yes, it is.
Right?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
The Nuggets last night beat the OKC Thunder 119-107. What does that mean? Well, it means they're going to Game 7 on Sunday, not Saturday, which means Nikola Jokic, the best player on the planet, has an extra day of rest, which means OKC might be in trouble at home. Either way, what this means is the Timberwolves will not play again until Tuesday when they will face either Oklahoma City or Denver. They will be the lower seeds, so the series will start in one of those two cities. Okay. We'll find out on Sunday who we play for in the Western Conference Finals. I
feel like there was somebody in this trio that predicted a 7-game.
I certainly did.
You did?
I certainly did, and I am all for it. The Minnesota Lynx tip off tonight in Dallas for the first game of the season.
Wow.
And you know who plays for Dallas? Paige Beckers from Hopkins, Minnesota.
Yeah.
Lynx coach Cheryl Reeves met Paige Beckers when Paige was 12, and they started working out together that long ago. So anyway, tonight, 6:30 on the Ion Network. Check out Hopkins Paige Beckers, the greatest player since Caitlin Clark to enter the league, who will be lighting it up for the Dallas Wings.
Today and today only, it's actually Paige Beckers.
Oh, that's right. I'm sorry.
Has renamed itself.
That's exactly right.
It's that day, isn't it?
It is Paige Beckers, Minnesota. It's Paige Beckers Day in Paige Beckers, Minnesota. Thank you for the clarification. Want to give a quick morning shout out to Plymouth, Minnesota. Nice folks out there in Plymouth.
Home of the Hildy. It's a good spot to see a concert.
Beautiful. I'm glad to know that. I have never, nor will I ever run a marathon. I'm just going to say that to you right now. Mm-hmm. If it hadn't happened by now, like a lot of other things in life, it ain't going to happen. And it's not so much that I don't think I could do it. I have absolutely no desire to put myself through the rigorous training that would be involved and would be necessary to get through a marathon, especially the part where I have to really just wolf down a ton of protein and I can't eat whatever I want and I can't drink whatever I want. That would be the hardest part, far more than the training, I think, for me. However, that doesn't mean there are other people who don't combine passions like eating crap and running marathons. There's a gentleman from Wisconsin. His name is Clay, and he runs he has a fitness page on TikTok and YouTube. It's called the Far-Fetched Fitness Page, and he does some pretty crazy things, including the newest one, the Culver's Marathon, a 26.2 mile marathon distance where the entire route basically is from one Culver's to another, to another, to another. And every time he gets to a Culver's, he walks in and eats a bag of cheese curds.
Come on.
And a concrete mixer. Yeah.
And gets back out and runs to the next Culver's for 26.2 miles.
I want to vomit just listening to you say this.
Oh, well, here's him talking about
Feel
it.
free.
Here's him on part of the marathon.
Stomach cramping.
Yeah.
Had to do a lap around Culver Stadium.
Yeah.
I think I'm almost at the next one. 10 miles in, second Culver's.
Incredible.
So he went to 5 Culver's, and I think he went over 26.2. I think it was like 27 or 29 miles.
Why not?
Yes.
You know, once you pass 23, really, what's it matter? This is way different than the beer mile. You know, where you run a mile, and every quarter mile you gulp a beer.
Yeah.
I mean, that I could see that. I could do that. I could do that right now.
I can do about 26.2 yards.
But yeah, exactly. 26.2 yards of beer, maybe, as they say. But this one, absolutely impossible to imagine. By the way, if you want to see this guy, even in my opinion, something that I think would be harder than the Culver's Marathon is he recently ran an ultra marathon that's 31 miles on a single roundabout. He ran on a roundabout. He ran 31 miles in a circle on a single, not a wide interstate-sized roundabout, a small roundabout in the middle of a town. He ran around it for 31.1 miles.
Oh, my.
I don't remember if it was a marathon or maybe just like a 15K or something like that, but I was at the Saints game, and there was somebody doing this as a stunt around CHS Field. And
Sure.
it was they had to have somebody counting the laps.
Yeah, they did.
Because, man, to do 31 miles around a roundabout, the math is what's freaking me out.
The math is freaking me out. And then I would have to, every couple of laps, I would have to turn around and go the other way. I would just have to balance it out, man. I would feel like if I ran that, let's just say counterclockwise, I'd lean to the left for the rest of my life. I would have to straighten it out.
This dude's a little bit, I mean, you know what? We all have our things that we love, right? Dude clearly loves running. He's a little sick in the head, though, if you ask me.
As they say, not all heroes wear capes. You know what I mean?
I am curious because I know we have some runners and some marathon people that are up this early. 651-989-ROCK. Does the concrete mixer and the cheese curds help with the crapping your pants issue?
I would imagine that will slow things down for sure.
It slows it down, but at the same time, your stomach is going to be, I would think, in knots.
What's the medicine to stop the diarrhea?
Dramamine?
No, it's like a pill you take, and it's just cement. It just stops you from loosing all over yourself, as they say.
Oh man, we're gonna need the 651-989-ROCK on that one too.
I can't think of what it is, but yeah, you're gonna need to get on there. When you're first meeting somebody, sometimes you might say, I don't know, is this a red flag or not? Is this a red flag or not?
Marathon runners are red flags.
Marathon runners are red flags. Any other red flag hobbies and or obsessions in your dating history? 651-989-ROCK. Early days of relationships, you see oftentimes a red flag or two pops up. Sometimes it's really more like a yellow flag, and you're like, I'm going to have to sit with this one for a minute. I got to weigh this one. But occasionally there's an absolute blood red flag waving in your face. 651-989-ROCK. I'm curious what those are for you in your past. What was the red flag where you went, I'm out? This first text that made me laugh. My red flag is the person who doesn't live on a farm but has more than a dozen pets.
Ooh, yeah.
That's pretty good.
I can see that.
Yeah, when you got more than if you are living, especially if let's just go ahead and call it an urban area. If you're in a city and you have, I think the number's 3. You got a dog and 2 cats. You got 2 dogs and a cat. You got 3 of one. That's fine. If you get a 4th pet in there, I'm a little like, really? Like, that's a lot. You're avoiding something in life.
I feel that you're forgetting I'm coming from a house of 5 animals.
I know, but you have tortoises. Those aren't. I'm talking. I mean, there's not a lot of maintenance daily, hour to hour with a tortoise, is there?
No, not hour to hour.
Okay, that's what I mean.
You got to give them some food every day.
Yeah, sure, that's fine.
Yeah.
I'm talking about if the more animals you have, where you have to walk them, you have to scoop yet another litter box. You've got to do this, you got to do that. I look at people and I think, what are you avoiding? Why are you putting all this time into these animals?
What animals qualify then into red flag territory? Dogs and cats, clearly.
Well, dogs and cats, it's by bulk. They factor in there. A tortoise or two is totally totally cool. It's acceptable. If I meet somebody and I walk in, if I see an adult with a gerbil or a hamster or a guinea pig, I think, what's wrong with you?
Even one.
What are you doing? Yeah.
Okay.
Like, really? Like, if you have kids, great. If you're an adult living alone or living with another roommate, get rid of the gerbils.
What about a bunch of birds? That's another one that's weird, right?
One bird, I can make an exception for.
I
More
don't
than
know
one?
that I'd make an exception for one bird.
Well, I'm assuming if everything else was just on fire here, with this person.
I'm amazed at how much even one bird stinks up a house.
Oh, well,
they absolutely reek. It's unreal.
There's that thing. You get used to your own smells, and your brain turns off from noticing them. I mean, it's true. It's how that works.
I'm so conscious of that when if we're gone for a couple of days and we walk into the house.
Oh yeah, you're aware of it.
Conscious of okay, does it stink?
Yeah. Well, with a cat, you have to do that. I mean, and we're fastidious scoopers of the litter box. It's every day. I mean, I hate missing a day because the second I'm aware of it, I'm like, oh my God, if I'm smelling this, what poor stranger's going to come in and think we're crazy cat people?
Oh, my trash cat's weird about her litter box. I have to scoop it every time she uses it.
Oh, really?
She's a total garbage cat in any other way, but won't use a dirty litter box.
She's a princess is what she is.
Does she come to you and look at you and hey, I need you to take care of this, or
she looks, if there's something in it and you can tell she wants to use it, she looks at the litter box and then looks at you like, hey, get over here, lady.
I love that.
I had one date. I call it a date. It was an accidental date. I asked a girl out and then totally forgot because I was so drunk, and she showed up to my record store the next day to say, when do we leave? And I was like, I don't even know who you are. True story. And we ended up going to a movie together. But it went well, and we were enjoying each other's company, and we lived very close to each other. And on the way back, we went by her house because she had her roommate was having some friends there. Let's go get a drink with these people. I'm like, sure. And we walked in, and I went into her house, and I went into her room, and she had Disney crap.
Oh, yes.
A lot of Disney stuff. And I was like, this has been great. You're in your 20s, and I can't abide Disney collections, memorabilia.
That's not just for dating for me. That's for friendships, too.
The Disney stuff?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Wow. All right.
There's where our kids went to school. There was a family there that we met. Our kids weren't friends with their kids, but they were classmates. Very friendly, but we didn't hang out. But we had known these people for 4 or 5 years. So Connell's in 6th grade. We've known these people since 1st grade.
Yep.
And at a fundraiser, cocktail soiree type thing at the school, blah blah blah. Everyone's had a couple. Everyone's getting loose, and all of a sudden, I find myself in a conversation. This couple and another couple, and they're comparing their Disney collections. I was standing with 4 adults, and all I could think was, thank God they all married each other. Holy crap. You're Disney. And they were like, oh, no, we're Disney families. And I was like, I'm going to go get 9 more drinks and pretend this didn't happen. We do, however, have someone on the horn right now with a bit of a red flag. Danielle is from White Bear Lake. Danielle, good morning.
Good morning.
What have you got for us, Danielle?
I'm definitely not into Rush, so hopefully I'm not a red flag for anybody. But no.
We'd let it slide.
Back in my early 20s, when you get more than one jail call within the first 30 days of dating someone, giant red flag.
Yes.
Will you accept a collect call from?
Oh, my. Yeah.
Wow.
A lot of people would say the first one's the red flag. It's nice to know you at least gave him a shot.
Yeah.
It was the second one that pushed you over the edge. Is that what you're telling me?
Correct. Definitely the second one where you're like, I don't think this is such a great idea.
Yeah. Wow.
You know what? Sticking it through the first one, though, it shows empathy and compassion, I think.
That's exactly right.
Yeah.
Danielle,
maybe a little bit of I'm 20 and dumb.
Yeah, or
There's
that.
too. Danielle, did you help him out the second time around? Did you take that call, or did you just say, no thanks, not for me?
Heck no, I started laughing and hung up.
I love that. Yes. I love the guy who gets arrested and he's like, he got one phone call. He's like, I think I'm going to call that brand new girl I'm seeing.
Yeah, that's for sure.
There's something to be said for that. Danielle, thanks for the call.
Have a great day.
651-989-ROCK. Check this text. This is from Dean. Good morning, KQ. How about this for a red flag? Met a girl on a first date. Everything went great. Conversation was perfect. She was beautiful and fun. Talked her into going to a hotel. Dino, a lot of game right there. When we got there, she sat on the bed. I sat on the chair. She eventually got up, took off her clothes, and was wearing a little baby doll outfit underneath her clothes. Crawled into my lap like a baby, and I was holding her like a baby. What would you do in that situation? Yeah. Wow. I know this. I'd still be texting about it many years later.
Yes.
Regardless of where it actually went.
In the moment, you get up and leave. I've been in a similar situation to that, and that's exactly what I did.
A woman
not
in
a baby doll. Not a baby doll.
Were you at a hotel?
We were at my place, so
Okay.
she was kicked out.
Okay.
This is my spot I was living at in Eagle Vale, Colorado.
Okay.
And we were doing some things, getting into some things, right? That you get into as two consenting adults.
We know about things.
Right.
Yeah.
And when I was asked to slap her across the face,
Okay.
I said, you know what? You're going to have to, first of all, happened.
Yeah.
And I said, you're going to need to leave. I didn't know her very well. Like,
sure.
we're not going to cross that. I'm going to cross that line. Yeah, you're going to have to go ahead and go home.
There should have been maybe a little warning ahead of time, like a message or something, like, hey, this is what I'm into, so when we hook up, like, this is what I'm going to want.
There were other signs, but they were signs I'm like, okay, I can, I'm not going to judge.
Yellow flags. They were yellow lights.
Yeah,
they weren't red lights.
Well said. But, I'm not smacking you across the face. Sorry.
651-989-ROCK. Let us know the red flags in your life.
Gorman in the morning. Coming right back. 92 KQRS. Streaming from 92KQRS.com. Gorman in the morning is back. 92 KQRS.
Gorman in the morning on Minnesota's 92 KQRS along with Fletcher and Ryder. It is Friday morning. In case you hadn't figured that out yet, if you're wondering why you're in a good mood, it's because it's Friday. Right now, I'm feeling Minnesota. It's time for some headlines. Paul.
A major stretch, quick reminder, major stretch of 494 going to be shut down in both directions this weekend. Stay away from the south. Stay away from the south. Crews are going to demolish ramps and begin bridge work over Highway 52 in the Twin Cities. That's according to MnDOT. So, yeah.
Well, the good news is it won't spread and back up all over the whole city.
No, not at all. Just take a bike.
Where is this happening? I'm sorry, down south.
494, yeah. So
because I got plans over east of things, but not south of things. It'll still be a.
It's 494 and 52, like Inver Grove Heights area.
Ooh.
Yeah.
So, yeah, I know you
steering
think you're
clear.
going okay.
I'm steering clear.
Yeah, take 35 north to wherever you're going east. Alice in Chains canceled their tour over health concerns for drummer Sean Kinney. He's offered an update on the band's Instagram saying he went through the 5 stages of grief, which to him was, quote, denial, I'm fine. Anger, F this, I'm still going to play. Bargaining, what's it going to take for me to hear a better diagnosis? Depression, this sucks. Acceptance, this sucks, but okay. Ultimately, he didn't get into specifics, but concluded the good news is that, quote, I'm going to be fine and I'm going to live. The bad news is, for some of you, is that I'm going to be fine and I'm going to live.
That's usually how that goes.
Absolutely.
It's a 50-50 proposition if you're lucky.
Yeah, well, you know what? Happy to have him around still. And hopefully they get out. I know they were really excited to get back out on the road and play some shows together. Hopefully they get to do that sooner than later. Minivans were introduced in the 1980s. The Dodge Caravan, the Plymouth Voyager leading the way. Very familiar, I'm sure. Since then, minivan sales have dropped while sales of SUVs have gone through the roof. Mm-hmm. But maybe, just maybe, things are about to change as minivans might be making a comeback. A number of car makers showed off their new luxury minivans at a huge auto show in China. These aren't soccer mom minivans by the looks of it. Holy moly. They're big, they're huge, they're fancy. They've got all kinds of tech in them, and they look almost like they're designed to be a status symbol.
Okay.
I don't know that I could ever find a minivan as a status symbol.
I lost the minivan war in the Gorman household. I wanted one.
Yeah, I know.
And Rosemary was like, I'm not doing it. I'm like, what are you talking about?
You wanted one?
I wanted one. Well, you got 2 kids, you got their friends, you got sports gear. And I the first time I walked up to my friend's minivan and both the side doors opened and rolled back simultaneously.
Like spaceship.
6 kids jumped in. I was like, how easy is life with this? And Rosemary was just like, I know, it's ridiculous, but no. I was like,
did you want
okay.
one for you, or did you want her to have one?
No, I would have been happy. But, I'm gone half the year on tour. She would have been driving it way more than I would have. See, that's the thing. When I was home, I was the chauffeur quite happily. But then I always knew, but I'm going to go leave and go rock the people for a while. And so she didn't get that.
Have you ever seen a dad driving a minivan?
Many times.
They look like a 1,000-yard stare lying in a zoo. They're dead inside. We owned one for 10 months, and then it went back to the store. Like,
hey,
they drive like crap. They're terrible.
Here's my name drop for the day. Met up for coffee with Dave Grohl in L.A. once, and he pulled up in a minivan, and I was like,
don't
good
doubt
for him.
it.
Good job, bud.
Good for him.
Good job, bud. Way to win the war at home. Farm Aid 40 is at Huntington Bank Stadium on September the 20th. It's going to be a raucous, a hellacious day of music. I'm legitimately very excited for this. I can't wait.
Same.
I will be there. I will be indulging in everything. The farmer's market. I'll be getting all the snacks. I'll be getting the beverages. I'll be getting the rock music. I'm excited.
I'm more excited about the food than the music,
Yeah.
to be honest with you.
The homegrown concessions, yeah.
It's going to be pretty awesome. Oh, tickets go on sale at 10 a.m. this morning. However...
This show's so big that my dad actually hit me up for tickets. And
Really?
He never asked for anything.
Wow.
Yes.
All right. Fair enough.
Pretty cool, though.
He offered to play the game, too, but he just likes winning trivia things.
Well, sure. Yeah, he's got an unfair advantage.
He's not eligible to play the game, right?
No.
Not as himself.
Maybe we'll have him face off against somebody someday.
It'd be pretty great if we got a call like, my name is Mike. Robot voice coming in there with a different name.
Yeah.
What about this? What about this Civil War? We could have my mom call in and we could go Mike against Gwen.
All right, we can make it happen.
That could be fun.
Twin Cities Civil War, ladies and gentlemen. We got an East Sider, we got a West Sider, and they are going to compete. I will ask each contestant a series of questions. They'll have 60 seconds to get as many answers as they can. The contestant with more correct answers wins Farm Aid tickets. It's pretty simple.
Yeah.
Is that making sense, Ryder?
Yes.
I always have to check.
We're only taking the first answer. You can feel free to answer before Steve finishes the question and, get the most right to win. And I have a killer tiebreaker today, so I'm not going to be bummed if that happens.
Okay, all right, great.
And a reminder, it's 60 seconds, and if you're stuck on something, feel free to say pass and move on to the next one.
Yeah, if we have time, we will circle back.
Yeah.
But let's get to it. Let's see. We got an East Sider named Mark in Columbia Heights. Mark, good morning.
Morning.
Ready to rock this bad boy?
Sports today.
Oh, give it a shot.
Sports trivia. All right, Mark, best of luck. A rider's going to count you in, and we'll be off and running.
All right, ready, set, go.
Name one of the 2 years the Minnesota Twins have won the World Series.
78 and 82.
Primarily designed to host Vikings games, this venue featured back-to-back sold-out concerts when it first opened by Luke Bryan and Metallica.
The U.S. Bank Stadium.
Which former Vikings head coach walked onto the field at TCF Bank Stadium in sub-zero temperatures wearing short sleeves for the coin toss?
I'll repeat that.
Which former Vikings coach walked onto the field at TCF Bank Stadium, sub-zero temperatures wearing short sleeves for the coin toss in the NFC wildcard game?
Pass.
Song by Minnesota band Gear Daddies about what type of machine is featured in D2, The Mighty Ducks?
Oh, boy, I'm having a hard time hearing you. Say it again.
Okay, what Gear Daddies song is about a piece of machinery you'll see at a hockey game?
4 seconds.
Oh, Zamboni.
Kirby Puckett appeared on what late-night talk show? Man.
2 of them.
Got 2. All right, Mark, strong effort, man. I know we're working fast, and that timer just really ramps up everyone's pressure.
What were the answers that he missed?
The 2 that were missed were name one of the 2 years the Minnesota Twins won the World Series. That'd be 87 and 91. Former Vikings coach that walked out in sub-zero temperatures at the NFC wildcard game, the one and only Bud Grant.
Short sleeves for Bud.
Mm-hmm.
That's it. All right, Mark, sit tight for a second. We'll see if
never know. 2 might do it.
Mike from Lakeville coming in from the west side can top your numbers. Mike, good morning.
Good morning.
Are you ready to play this game, sir?
I am ready to roll.
All right, Ryder's going to count you in, and I'll start with the first question.
All right, ready, set,
Yep.
go.
How many times have the Minnesota Vikings played in the Super Bowl and lost?
4.
Most famous for his time at the Metrodome, named the Minnesota beer vendor with his own trading card and bobblehead.
Wally.
Fans at Alliance Field celebrate Minnesota United wins by singing what Oasis song?
Wonderwall.
Drafted by the Mets, retiring as a Yankee, Darryl Strawberry signed with what minor league baseball team in the spring of 1996 in an attempt to come back?
Saints.
Olympic medalist Lindsey Vonn began her skiing career at Buck Hill in this suburb.
Burnsville.
Rapper Lizzo's hit Truth Hurts was censored on radio stations in Green Bay for name-dropping which Minnesota team?
Vikings.
The St. Paul Saints mascot Madonna is what type of farm animal?
Pig.
During pregame announcements, public address announcer Bob Casey would famously remind fans there is no what in the Metrodome?
Smoking.
Who are the reigning professional women's hockey league champions? Wow.
Frozen.
Man, that's Frozen.
Dude.
Close. Real close.
Oh, freaking Mike. Way to go, Lakeville. We are knocking it out of the park.
You know what?
today.
We didn't get to it, but I'm just gonna see because Mike was on a tear. One last one for just to run out the side. Name the current head coach of the Minnesota Wild.
Oh, my God. Jesus. Okay, now I'm blanking.
All right.
You
okay.
want me to turn the timer back on?
Yeah, you already won the game. That's all good.
Mike, you just rattled through 8 for 8, so you're fine.
Wow. Well done.
Oh, so good. So
There's a lot of contestants in the Civil War, and then there's Mike from Lakeville. My
Legend.
God.
First legend born.
We appreciate you calling in, Mark, and giving it a shot, but this is Mike's day. Mike, you just won Farm Aid tickets for September 20th, brother. And that'll do it. All right, that's great.
Yeah, don't go anywhere. Oh, man, I am bummed about this tiebreaker. I want to give it to you guys, okay?
Okay.
Lay it on us.
All right, so it is December, and I feel like it might be unfair to Fletcher. It's December 12th, 2010. The roof on the Metrodome collapses because of a snowstorm that dropped how many inches of snow?
27.
Fletcher?
18.
Oh, Fletcher's so close. 17.1 inches.
Wow.
I remember the number being right in that area, so yeah.
I just thought, whatever I'm first going to think, go higher. And because I was thinking just a little over 17, and then I added more. No, that's not true at all.
Update to the Civil War standings. The West is up now by 1. And Mike from Lakeville, we're going to keep track of that one. 8 for 8 is pretty impressive.
Yeah.
That's the all-time mark set right for now.
That is fantastic. That was a good run right there.
Yeah, that was
if
unreal.
you did not get a chance to compete for Farm Aid tickets, you can buy them like everybody else. This morning at 10 a.m. they go on sale.
Mm-hmm.
Wish you the absolute best of luck.
Gorman in the morning. Coming right back. 92 KQRS. Streaming from 92KQRS.com. Gorman in the morning is back. 92 KQRS.
Cranberries right there, and I am very happy to announce that Chef Gavin Kaysen is in studio with us. Chef!
I made it.
Ever since the bear, everyone knows to call you Chef.
That's true,
Isn't that
right?
nice?
That's
yeah,
right.
it is good. Actually, when I'm at the gym, people say, "Morning, Chef."
Oh, isn't that nice? So we just
Fantastic.
heard from the cranberries. What do you got with cranberries? How many recipes? How often do you use cranberries, if ever?
It's a fall thing.
Yeah.
So it's a lot of time there. Although it's really good in desserts. The thing with food, when I think about it, is less about the nostalgia and more about sort of the chemical side of, okay, it's got high acid, you can add some shoot, some sugar to it, whatever, all that. So what can you use it for? Oh, yeah, I love cranberries.
Thanksgiving question on cranberries. Do you prefer actual cranberries or just the jelly jar?
100% the jelly jar.
Of course.
I mean, it needs to be like out of the can, looking like, when you pour dog food out.
With
like,
the ridges.
Yeah, it's
That's
perfect.
Same but different, but it's kind of like when you get a jelly-filled donut. I don't want it to be fresh fruit jelly. I want it to be the crappiest, most,
you can guarantee
synthetic,
it is.
synthetic jelly inside of a donut. You know what I mean?
Right.
It's kind of the same thing.
Right.
I'm a big fan of food. I've been accused of being a foodie, but I'm anything but that because I don't know how food works.
Okay.
By which I mean, you can come to my pantry and I look in there and go, I don't have anything. When I know for a fact you would whip up something that would blow my mind.
Sure.
And just the first thing you said, you think about acid. I literally look at people that understand food just like I look at a musician or a juggler or a perfect mimic. It's just a gift. I think you were just born with an understanding of how things work together.
Yeah, it's funny. When I started to first cook, it was with my grandmother, and I was very young. I was 7 years old. Baking cookies, making pot roast, chicken and dumplings.
Is this? Where are we
here
talking?
in Minnesota.
In Minnesota.
And, that certainly doesn't help you understand food that way. Mm-hmm. But watching a grandmother or somebody like that, a figure in your life who can open a pantry
right.
and say like, oh, I'm in my mind at 7 being like, we have nothing. And she's like, we have everything for chicken and dumplings. We just have to change this, this, and this.
Yeah.
Then you start to think about it so differently, and you just realize that it's just this intuitive ability that they have.
Yeah.
You know, it's amazing.
And so from an early age, though, this was something you recognized. You had an interest or a passion for this.
Yeah, I loved it. I always loved it. And I knew when I was 15, I started working at Subway.
Oh.
And
sandwich artist.
Certified. By the way, certified, just to be clear. I have a certificate that says as such.
I don't doubt that.
Have it?
Oh, yeah.
Framed?
Yes.
Yeah.
Is there a Gavin statue outside that Subway now?
No.
They're not claiming
I don't
you?
even think it's open.
Oh, come on.
But what I would do when I was there is I would memorize people's orders because the same people would come in often every day to get the same sandwich, and they wouldn't change the order. So I was like, well, if I just write it down on a piece of paper and Paul walks in, I'm just going to make his 6-inch roast beef sandwich on wheat, everything mustard and jalapeno.
Yep.
And I'd make it. He'd walk in. I'd say, Paul, your sandwich is at the register. I'll see you later. And the person behind him would say, how do you know him? Is he your brother? Is he your father?
Right.
I said, no. He just comes in every day. If you come in every day, I'll remember your order.
Yeah.
Well, this guy moves in next door to open a restaurant. He starts to come. He recognizes this, and he sort of recognizes this ability that I didn't know I had.
Okay.
Which was not only guest relations and customer service and all of that, but really just sort of the finesse of being able to cook.
Pretty
serve,
incredible.
Put food together.
Yeah, it's a real mixed bag of skill sets. It's one thing to say, hey, I'm a chef. It's another thing to say I'm a chef and I got a few restaurants. It's another thing to say I got a chef and I got all these restaurants and they're in all these major cities. You've got some stuff you're getting ready to open now. It's old hat for you, but it still has to be an incredible check. You got to wake up every morning, at least have a moment where you go, how am I going to get all this done? Because again, you're the face, you're the front man, you're the quarterback and the GM and all these things.
Yeah.
And if not for you making sandwiches and remembering orders, you might still be making sandwiches and just not doing as well at it.
Exactly.
I mean,
and not memorizing any orders at all.
And so, this guy sees you next door. I'm opening a restaurant. This kid's good at what he does. Mm-hmm. But from A to Z, there's a million other letters. What did you say? Okay, I guess culinary school at some point. What was the path from high school Subway kid to
Yeah, so I went to culinary school in Vermont, New England Culinary Institute. I think I went there when I was 19.
Okay.
And, I just knew. I mean, I knew when I was 16 years old that I would do this the rest of my life. There was no other question in my mind what I was going to do.
Great.
And so I went to culinary school. At that time, you would do 6 months of school, 6 months of an internship, which I went to Napa Valley for. Went back to school for 6 months, had an opportunity to do an international internship.
Yep.
So I moved to Switzerland and spent some time over there. And then I was in London and Sweden and kind of jumping around, and then came back stateside. Was in San Diego, then New York City, and back here.
But you're no chefs in your family. There was no. I mean, this is a world that you didn't have any sort of open door to. You just had to put your shoulder to the wheel and make it happen.
That's it. Yeah, I mean, my parents, they're not great cooks.
Okay.
I mean,
yes. You didn't need to say that on the radio.
Call that
out. By the way, they know. I mean, if you could call my mother and ask her to boil water, and she'd say, "What?"
Yeah, right.
And that's
put
okay.
a lid on it?
Huh?
Should
Exactly.
I put a lid on
exactly. And that's okay. Yeah. Sometimes she'll send me pictures of like ground beef that's a little tinted green. She's like, "Do you think it's still good?" I'm like, "It's fine. Give it a shot. Just cook it an extra 10 minutes.
Let it rip." Siblings?
One older brother.
Has he got any kitchen skills?
Yeah, he's actually a pretty good cook.
Yeah?
Yeah, he's a pretty good home cook.
Okay.
But he's an artist. He's a woodworker. So he's very, he's very creative.
Right.
But we both have that creative sense, which we actually got from our mom.
Okay.
And my dad is very like type A sort of business sense, which I'm grateful that I got that from him.
Sure.
Because I need a lot of that now, especially with all of what's happening. Mm-hmm. But yeah, I never grew up in the restaurant industry or profession. And even then, I mean, I'm 46 years old, so this is 30 years ago. Mm-hmm. Being a chef then was not what it is today.
That was my next question. You came around at the perfect time as 30 years ago, I knew one name, Wolfgang Puck.
Yeah.
That was a guy in L.A. that celebrities went and ate, and they'd show him at a Lakers game. And I was like, what?
Yeah.
A chef?
Yeah.
The first time I went to L.A., I went by his restaurant. I was like, oh, my God. Like, how? And now, of course, we're in such a different era. You couldn't have imagined 35 years ago that we'd be here. But for you,
call.
man, it seems like a lot of you're not lucky, you're very good, but you seem to be luck is what? Preparation and opportunity together and all these things.
Yep.
You obviously have the skills and all that. But if you had come around 30 years prior, you'd be, over at the IHOP and people would say, that guy does something special with pancakes. I don't know what it is.
And honestly, that's the credit to people like Wolfgang Puck and Thomas Keller and Alice Waters and you name all these chefs that literally paved the way for us to be able to do what we're doing.
Yeah.
There's no way we could do it.
And what are you doing now? You've got a lot of things happening. What's going on with Bellecour and blah, blah, blah? Because it's kind of, I can't possibly keep all this straight. I don't know how you do.
So Bellecour, when we had Bellecour in Wayzata, during COVID, we closed that restaurant. We moved the bakery into Cooks of Crocus Hill, which at the time was just in North Loop that we did it in as sort of a pop-up. It worked great. We put it in St. Paul. We put it in Edina. We joined the two brands together. And that was a 5-year partnership, which has come to an end. So we're all sort of splitting apart. In a great way. So Bellecour is going to reopen as a restaurant, bakery, and cafe in the North Loop, which is going to be around the corner from Spoon and Stable. And then the space in Edina, we're going to close all of that at the end of this month, and we're going to renovate that, and that'll be just a bakery and cafe.
Nice.
That's locally. And then we are also partnering with the Four Seasons down in Naples, Florida, to open up a new restaurant down there called the Merchant Room.
Naturally.
Which will open up later this year as well.
Yeah, man, that's a lot of. I mean, I think everybody's had at least one job where they put on an apron and went to work at a restaurant, fast food or otherwise.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. And just knowing what it is for like one little mom and pop corner shop to run, the logistics and just the headaches and just the permits alone. I mean, all the things you have to go through. But do you ever get up some days and go, I don't know why I got into this. No, I think it's time. I think it's time I just go make ramen noodles.
No, I love it. It's the best. I mean, you know what it is? It's at the end of the day, it's sort of just all a mathematical equation, right? I mean, it's like, how much are you going to let things you can't control bother you? Because it's like, there's so much out of my control.
Yeah.
Everything I can control, let's figure out a way to make it right.
Yeah.
And it comes down to the team. I mean, we're lucky. We have people, the majority of all of our leaders have been with us for 7 years or longer.
Great.
And they're amazing human beings. They love what they do. They love this profession. They love taking care of the guests. They love retaining people and training the youth under them. And honestly, that's what it's all about.
Now, Bellecour is a name that a lot of people listening are familiar with, but the story of why you chose that name goes back to Lyon, France. Lay that on me, because this is pretty great.
Yeah, so Paul Bocuse, who is the most famous chef of our generation, he passed away about 6 years ago. He has a restaurant there called Paul Bocuse, naturally. And in front of it, he flies the American flag.
In France.
In France. Yep. And in the center of Lyon, there's a square called Place Bellecour, and there's a statue of, at the time, the king bringing back and pulling back, basically saying, we have now conquered, we have France back. So I asked Mr. Bocuse when I had dinner there in 2006, why do you fly the American flag? And he says, well, I was shot in the war, and an American soldier found me and saved my life, and so I fly the flag to never forget why we are still here. And jokingly, I always tell people I have American blood running through my veins.
Right.
Oh, wow.
And so when I decided to call the restaurant Bellecour, I called him and I said, would you mind if I call the restaurant Bellecour? And I tell this and I share this story as to why, because you were so impactful in my life. And your French cooking, your French style of hospitality has inspired me to just become better every day. And he says, of course. So we call it Bellecour. In fact, I spoke to his son last week, who's a very close friend. And I said, is there any way you could send me one of your dad's old chef coats that I could put in like museum glass and hang in the restaurant? And he says, I have 3 left. Took a picture of it. He says, which one do you want?
Oh,
and I was like, oh my God.
Cool.
That's
unbelievable.
Awesome.
I know.
Wow.
I know.
That's really nice.
Hey, so I want to jump back really quick, speaking to the community, and I'm actually going to make this a little bit selfish because Gavin is never going to pump his own tires like this. But he talks about it's about the people and it's about the community, and that's what it's all about. And my personal experience with this is I've got a niece who I wouldn't say lost her way, but she just was kind of like after high school kind of struggling to figure out what she wanted to do, right? And she decided she wanted to get into cooking and to get into food. And doesn't have any real training, but had worked at a what would you call it out in Montana? It was like a horse farm, but they also did it
kind of resorty slash.
Yeah, there you go, resort restaurant type thing. I reached out to Gavin and just said, "Would you just talk to her?"
Yeah.
And long story short, They had a conversation via email, I believe, or maybe you guys.
And we talked on the phone.
And you talked on the phone. She's now a line cook at Mara. Down, is it Mara?
Yeah, Mara in the Four Seasons.
There you go.
Our restaurant.
I mean, it's just and like we have exchanged a few texts because I'm always so appreciative anytime she has a moment or whatever. If I see his name, I like to bring it up, and he's just like, man, that's what it's all about. And so he doesn't just speak it on a mic here; he walks it as well.
And that's an extension of honestly you and your grandma. I mean, food's the easiest thing to take for granted of how much of a connective bond. Food bonds people and has
completely.
From not just families, but from separate cultures and from literally all over the world. Food is this great connective tissue in all of our lives. And you just said something about during COVID. Early days of COVID, that must have been like it was for everybody in every industry, but in the food industry specifically, not only are you thinking about what's going to happen, are we going to lose our livelihood, but the fact that everything you prepare just is a connective, the idea of losing restaurants and losing the community, that must have been so bewildering and terrifying.
It was, but it was also a way, if you really took a step back and put your creative hat back on, and thought to yourself, okay, this is a connective tissue. How do I connect again?
Yeah.
You could find ways of opportunity. One way that we did it is we did online cooking classes. The first class we ever did was paella. It was a Zoom class. You jumped on with me at 6 o'clock on a Thursday. I showed you how to make paella. You had all the ingredients and all the recipes ahead of time.
Right.
You could ask questions to me live, and in an hour you had paella to feed everybody. We had 150 people on that class. I was shocked that many people showed up.
Wow.
Our third class, we had over 1,500 people on that class, and I did 60 of them. And we cooked for literally thousands of people. What made that so remarkable was that once COVID was quote unquote over and people were coming back to restaurants, people that would come into our restaurants would come in and say, I lived in Arizona, I lived in Florida, I lived in Minnesota, and every Thursday at 6 o'clock we found each other on your class. And it was just this and I just couldn't believe it. We turned all of that into a book called At Home. And it was all of these recipes because we realized at the end of the day, we had all this content. Wow. And not only do we have content, but we had actually tested all of the recipes with people asking incredibly sophisticated questions that as a professional cook, I never ask myself, right? If somebody says to you, put it in the oven for 8 to 10 minutes, that's terrifying for a home cook, right? What if I put it in for 8? What if I put it in for 10? Do I turn the fan on? Do I turn the fan off? Like, there's all of these very sophisticated questions that as a professional chef, it's intuitive. It's easy.
Amazing.
It just, those open ears, that mindset that you have, it's what, you know what I mean? That I think is probably, I truly believe that your open ears and your willingness like that is what is where you are. I mean, obviously the work and the instinct and the ability is part of it too, but I think that open-mindedness is part of it, really what has made you where you are or put you where you are today.
You know, I've been really, really lucky to be around some incredibly successful chefs most of my career. Two of which I would argue are probably the two of the most successful chefs in on the planet. The one thing that I can see drives all of them, the consistent thread through all of them, is curiosity. You know, they don't ever walk into a restaurant and think, I know everything that's happening here. They walk into a restaurant and say, what am I going to learn about this place that I don't already know? It's different when you walk in that way. That curiosity can push you to be so much better.
That curiosity, that talent, it's a true literal passport for you. I mean, it's taken you all over the planet.
It has.
You've made meals, I can only imagine, for any for people from all walks of life. The good, bad, the ugly, the indifferent. I got an AC/DC story I need to hear.
Oh, it's the best. So I'm in Switzerland, cooking in Switzerland, and the event's over. I'm with 3 chefs. 3 of which they're incredibly famous.
Okay.
And that's not me. It's these 3 that I'm with.
Yeah.
There's a bunch of people in the corner of the bar, and they're loud, and they're kind of disrupting our energy. So one of our chefs, who has no problem holding back, just walks over there and says, excuse me, in a very, very charming French accent, can you guys keep it down? We've just finished cooking a meal, and we're just trying to have like our nightcap, and you're bothering me.
Yeah.
And the guy looks up and he says, holy bleep, you're Danielle Boulud. That's Thomas Keller. We're AC/DC. And I was like, what? and so the rest of the night meant all of us were in that corner partying and having fun.
Your mood switched real fast.
Oh my
Theirs
God.
wasn't going anywhere.
We had so much fun. We closed the bar down.
Yeah.
And they're like, you guys got to come to the show tomorrow night. And we were leaving the next day, so we didn't go.
No.
But it was just one of those moments where you're just like, pinch me. You know, so
fantastic.
cool.
What am I doing here? Like,
I know,
of those, right?
Just like what? And the fact that like they all knew. They're massive foodies.
Yeah.
So again, I think a lot of musicians typically are because of the tour schedule.
Actually, they're tiny foodies.
Yeah, right.
These are the smallest people you've ever seen.
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that SG looks like a Ford Pinto on Angus.
Yeah, but listen, I can relate. It's all good.
Hey, my last thing I'm going to say is anybody that has ears right now, you need to go have the pork chop at Spoon and Stable. That's all I'm going to say. I'm just going to leave it at that.
That's a good pork chop. I agree.
Hey, my man talks Spoon and Stable a lot. He's always like,
incredible, man.
No, I know. I get it.
I'll say it with him sitting here. We're lucky to have, and don't blush too much on me, but we're lucky to have all the training and all the experience that you have just laid out for us. We're lucky to have a restaurant like that in this town. Go eat at Spoon and Stable for
How
real. That pork
fancy
chop's
do I need
unreal.
to dress to get into Spoon and Stable?
You don't have to dress fancy. Just come, hang out.
All right.
You can also get cream spinach with cheese curds on it. With that.
I walk by it every day. It's part of my power walk right through town. So,
I love it.
And I've yet to go in. It's almost 3 years in town. I haven't been there yet.
Yeah, just come in. I'll tell you, the secret is if you don't want to make a reservation and you don't want to come at exactly 5 p.m.,
right?
Come at 7.
Nice.
The bar always flips at 7 o'clock because everybody comes at 5 for a meal. They're done in 2 hours. I watch it every night. The bar clears out. You got 12 empty bar seats. They show up.
Gav, not on the mic, brother. I'm going to have a crowd now.
You go tonight. You'll beat them all.
We have officially shanghaied Gavin Kaysen. He's sticking around with us for a little bit. We've got to get some headlines though, because of course it is the top of the hour and we're feeling Minnesota, Paul.
Major stretch of Interstate 494 going to be shut down in both directions this weekend as crews demolish ramps, begin bridge work over Highway 52 in the Twin Cities, and as our crack traffic expert Gavin Kaysen dropped in, a 100 going to be closed as well in that area. So it's going to be super fun down in the south end of the Twin Cities. Yeah, definitely. Good news, bad news for the ongoing wildfires up north. Good news is got some rain in parts of that area combined with lower temps and reduced wind that's helped firefighters make some progress. The bad news is that they're still 0% contained, but hopefully we're making some headway. And last, Christopher Nolan continues to break new ground with his upcoming adaptation of The Odyssey. I'm so pumped for this flick. An IMAX spokesperson confirmed with People yesterday that his next movie, which stars Matt Damon as the ancient Greek mythological hero Odysseus, will be filmed entirely with IMAX cameras, the first feature-length film to ever do this. Yes,
I don't know,
please.
man. I was hoping for the Iliad, but I guess if we got to take one, it's fine. We'll take the Odyssey.
You know what? I'm more fixated on Matt Damon and IMAX. Like, Christopher Nolan could film like this studio in IMAX, and I'm going to sit through all 2 hours of it.
I want to go back to this fixation on Matt Damon at 70 feet tall. What's going on over there with you?
70 feet tall?
I don't know. IMAX screens are really big.
Oh, yeah. Well, I don't know. Matt Damon. He's Matt Damon.
Yeah, that's very true. The Minnesota Twins are, oddly enough, the Minnesota Twins with 11 straight victories. That's the kind of Twins we want to see. A 4-0 victory yesterday in Baltimore. A second sweep of the Orioles in a week. A fine effort. Top of the third, back-to-back home runs from Kersey and Buxton. And then in the bottom of the third, a bit of a rough moment when there was a pop-up to shallow center, and it went this way.
And got in on Mullins to shallow center. Correa out. Buxton in. Talk guys in. It's caught as Buxton and Correa do make contact, and both are down.
Yikes.
So the catch was made, but now concern as Correa went out. Buxton came in. There was contact, and both are on their backs here.
A lot of contact. Buxton did catch the ball, first things first. But then his head slammed into the back of Correa's shoulder and back of Correa's head. They both went down. Correa looked like he was out cold for a second there.
Yeah.
He walked off the field under his own power, gingerly, I would say. Buxton finished the inning and then was also pulled. They're both now in a 7-day concussion protocol.
It looks bad.
It did look very bad. Any concussions in the kitchen, Chef?
I have not had a concussion in the kitchen. That's good news.
What about the staff? Has anybody gone in through the outdoor or anything like that?
No, but no concussions, but
burns, right?
Burns.
Yeah.
Burns and cuts are tough.
I still have a scar in my hand from a pizza oven burn 1987, baby.
You hold on to that forever.
Yeah,
you make sure.
I wear it with pride.
That's clout right there.
But you also build up an immunity to heat to a certain degree, don't you? Like your
100%.
limbs, I feel like your limbs just sort of can handle more than mine could.
Oh,
that and you burn your fingertips so much. I go through Clear at the airport, and they're like, "Just your eyes, sir. We can't read anything.
Hang on, that gives me more than half a dozen nefarious ideas. Yeah. Let's talk off air. I got some capers I want to see if I can pull off. The Timberwolves have to wait a while, at least until Sunday late afternoon, to figure out where they're going for the Western Conference Final. They will either be this Tuesday night in Oklahoma City or in Denver. As the Game 7 will kick off Sunday afternoon between the Nuggets and the Thunder. Who do you hope we see in the finals?
I think with the storyline that we've had so far, we need to knock off Jokic. We got to take him down again.
Knock him down again. Yeah, all right. I like it. All right. So we'll see what happens. So you, Gavin, you mentioned off mic. You do a little food prep for the Wolves. I mean, are you playoff games as well?
Yeah, so we have a company called KZ Provisioning. Myself and Andrew Zimmern have that company. So we cook for the Minnesota Timberwolves, the Lynx, and the Wild. We're the official chefs for the team.
Nice.
And so we're in the locker rooms cooking for them.
Chefs or sandwich artists?
Oh, we are chefs.
Okay.
Well, actually, we're whatever the team needs.
Fair enough.
Sometimes it's sandwiches, sometimes it's soup, sometimes it's pasta.
With the Western Conference Finals and hopefully the finals coming up, I look good in an apron and I can carry stuff.
Well, here's the problem.
Just throwing that out there.
I realized this last night. I haven't been to a game yet in the playoffs.
Okay.
I can't go.
No?
I mean, they've won. They've won. 4-1, 4-1.
If you were to show up and they lose, it's on you.
Well, here's the problem. I went last year during the Western Conference Final. We lost. I can't go.
I'll tell you what.
It was my fault.
I'll take the heat. Send me in, Coach.
Done.
All right, fair enough. Hey, Oak Park Heights, glad to have you with us this morning. Oak Park Heights.
Also known as Tree City, USA. I didn't know this. They've been given that title for their commitment to urban forestry. How about that?
You know, as I prefer to pronounce it, of course, it's Oak Park Heights. Hey, you know what? It's time for a bargument, as long as we're all here. And we're gonna ask Gavin, Chef Gavin, to stay up and be a part of this. 651-989-ROCK. Our daily bargument. Would you rather lose your sense of taste for the sweet or for the salty? 651-989-ROCK. Let's discuss.
Gorman in the morning. Coming right back. 92 KQRS. Streaming from 92KQRS.com. Gorman in the morning is back. 92 KQRS.
Gorman in the morning, Minnesota's 92 KQRS. Our daily bargument. Right now, if you had to give up one, would you give up your taste for sweet or would you give up your taste for the salt? Sweet or salty? 651-989-ROCK. Ryder, I'm curious as to your thoughts. What would be harder for you?
Okay, well, I'm definitely a salts person, so I think that I would lose the sweet unless we're changing it to if I never knew about saltiness. Then I'd go the other direction.
Okay. I'm just talking about like you wake up today and one of them's gone.
If I wake up and I know what I'm missing, I'm going to keep the salt and get rid of the sweet.
I'm with you right there. I'm a guy who, I always say I don't have a sweet tooth. I'm never interested in dessert. But the truth is, it's probably just, but then I will, on occasion, have 4 pieces of pie. It's just like, I just stockpile. About once a quarter, I just get it all. And then I prefer a second helping of dinner over dessert. That's just me. Speaks a lot to being the 8th kid in a giant family where my mom was cooking in bulk and not flavor.
Yeah, right.
That's how that goes. Fletcher.
This is easy for me. I'm actually taking a contrarian approach to this.
Okay.
I'm a sweets guy. I got a sweet tooth.
Yeah.
I would, if I had to lose one of them, I would lose the sweet tooth.
Oh,
because I'm fat, and it's mostly because of sugar.
Yeah.
And if I could get rid of that aspect of my life, things would be a lot easier. I think probably. So
all right.
It's the worst drug on the planet, man. Sugar's awful.
I got
a technical question.
Yeah, let her rip.
So, when we say sweet, do we mean sugar? Because here's the question: if I give up sweets, meaning sugar, I can still eat grapes and get the sweetness.
Oh, see?
But doesn't have sugar?
It's the sense of
it's fructose.
sweet.
It's not sugar. Okay,
so,
it's the sense
so
of
you're
sugar.
not
All right,
getting
Ryder,
any,
I got you.
You're not sneaking in any berries.
Okay.
I like how Chef Gavin is already trying to cheat at this.
Yeah. No,
but between that and getting rid of his own fingerprints, so there's a lot going on.
There's a lot going on, right? Yeah. This is too much for morning radio. I got to go back to bed.
Here's the problem. Playing at a high level.
Well, here's the problem. If you give up sweet, like I don't know, because if I give up sweet, then I have to give up fruit. I mean, you have a peach in perfect season. I don't know if you can beat that. Yes.
No, you're right. But the problem is that the peach leads to freaking bottle caps and other cotton candy and other crap
now you can't have corn.
Eating.
Can't have corn.
I know.
You know?
Yeah, but I think I'd
be
willing to do that because I've got a problem when it comes to the bad aspects of sugar.
I would give up salt for sweets so long as I could never have sugar again. Sorry, that's too technical.
That was actually really good.
I like that.
Yeah.
A lot of layers on this onion for you.
Yeah, there is. Yeah, because, hey, onion, sweet.
See? There it is.
He's picking it up.
Oh, crap. Onion is sweet?
Yeah.
So no bloomin' onions?
No bloomin' onions.
See, now I just respect the level with which he's playing the game.
Sure.
Because he is analyzing every aspect of this. Like, he's taking it seriously like we should when we're having a nonsense argument.
What Gavin is doing right now, it's the equivalent of an older brother holding his younger brother by the head, and his arms are too short to land a contact to the body. You know.
See, I was the younger brother with short arms.
Yeah, me too.
Right.
Okay, good. So for once, I'm holding.
Yeah, that's it. Get it while you can, man.
I know, man. I know.
Chris from Delano is trying to get in on the Fletcher diet, saying get rid of the sweet, then hopefully I would get thin.
Yeah.
I don't know that that's how that works.
I'm not really sure either, but okay.
I can tell you 100% that if I cut sugar out of my life, I would shed 50 pounds in a matter of 6 months. Easily.
Well, I have a suggestion for you.
Cut sugar out of my life? Yeah.
Let's
Super
do it.
easy. Super easy.
Asked and answered. Okay, Chef Gavin Kaysen, again, thank you for coming in, man.
Thank
Seriously,
you. Thanks for having me.
This has been a real treat. Last question. You and I go on a crime spree. You without your fingertips, me, the brains of the operation. It's not going to last long.
Whoa,
we're going to get in trouble.
brains?
Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
God.
We're
corner.
convicted. The governor says, no, we're flipping the switch tonight. There's no clemency. You're done. What's the last meal?
Oh, that's easy for me. I want like a tomahawk steak.
Uh-huh.
You know, I want a tomahawk steak
I like
with
it already.
With cheesy gratin potatoes.
Oh, yeah.
You know, I want for dessert. I want tiramisu. I want creme brulee.
Creme brulee.
I want like a chocolate like lava cake, and I just want a ton of ice cream.
No veggies.
Oh, man.
No, I'm dying.
It's the
I'm
last
done.
meal.
I'm just checking.
No, like
checking.
Yeah, no, I mean,
I would have asparagus in my last meal.
You can put it next to the steak. I'll look
that's
at
what I'm
it.
saying. Yeah, you'll look at it.
A little béarnaise on top.
Hey, I just have one quick question. If you're doing this crime spree, can I just be the driver?
Yeah.
I just want to be the wheelman.
Yeah, no problem.
Okay, cool.
That's
glad we got that figured out.
We have covered some bases. Again, sincere thanks, man. This has been great.
My pleasure.
You're welcome back anytime, brother.
Thank you.
You have until noon today to vote on the KQ Bestest. Last chance. We got a lot of categories. We're going to give you the results on Monday. JTR Roofing, our good friends, bringing us KQ's Bestest this year. Of course, any of the categories, any of the so far, not the results, but the standings now that you think are of note, Ryder?
There's some early runaways. We got a bunch of texts about this when we announced the poll. Best burger, King's Place Bar and Grill in Meesville, which is just outside of Hastings, I'm told. But yeah, It is just freaking dominating.
Really?
Wow.
Uh-huh.
Wow.
Shout out to American Legion Osseo. Post number 172 is winning it by a lot for best meat raffle.
Oh,
nice.
I've actually sang karaoke inside the Legion at Osseo. Let's go.
What song did you sing?
Do you really want to know?
Yes, I do.
It's one of the best karaoke gags I think you can pull, and that is just go up and sing tequila.
Tequila?
Yeah. You say two words. Take it seriously, like you're sitting down, like you're really going to sing something, and then you have a drink with you, and you just sit there and sip on a drink and say tequila twice, and you're done.
Yeah.
I didn't hear a word you just said. I'm just looking at these pictures of burgers from King's Bar and Grill, and oh my God, they look great.
How does something beat Parlor? That's crazy.
I don't know.
The people got real lit up about that one.
I bet they did.
Best lake to catch a fish. I'm not sure if this is people who fish a lot trying to throw us off the trail, but Bald Eagle Lake, kind of up by Matamidi, is doing real well. My favorite so far, best movie set in Minnesota, Grumpy Old Men with a little scene shot at the halftime wreck is just kicking Purple Rain's ass.
Wow.
It's like not even, there's no way there's no way Apollonia is coming back from that.
I guess not. Man, Apollonia, we hardly knew ye. She was like a comet appearing, like, wow, there she burns, a little too bright, a little too close to the sun. She's burning like a comet and Icarus all at once. That was the magic of Apollonia.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh! All right, well we had. I want to thank Gavin Kaysen again for coming in. What a great hang with the chef.
Yeah,
we need to have him on more often. He's just such a well-rounded dynamite human being.
Thankfully, he's got a wide open schedule.
Yeah, he's nothing going on, especially this year.
Good Lord! All right, we got just enough time to squeeze in the last word.
Okay.
The most popular song in the history of the Norwegian pop charts is Love Hurts by Nazareth.
What?
Oh.
Nazareth's Love Hurts in Norway was the #1 song
I thought you were going to pull out some ABBA garbage.
in 1976 and 1977. It was #1 for 61 straight weeks.
Wow.
What does that say about the Norwegian view of the world?
As a stoic Norwegian,
Yeah.
I'm really feeling this.
Love Hurts.
Love doesn't hurt.
61 weeks in a row at #1. So next time you hear Nazareth's Love Hurts, just think about our Norwegian friends, and if you see one, maybe give them a hug.
Yeah, I'm also an upstanding Norwegian, and I don't know if I can
hugs. No hugs for us.
No?
No touching.
I don't think I can get on this train.
As soon as this show ends, I'm wrapping you up, woman.
Do it.
Monday on the show, KQ's bestest winners will be announced. Holy smokes. Yeah, we're gonna be, in your face, man. It's gonna be a whole day of letting you know what the best stuff in town is, according to your many, many votes.
And don't dragging this out for 6 or 7 months like some other polls do.
No, not at all. Neil Justin's going to come in as well from the Star Trip. That's great. Cool. Neil Justin will talk about some TV, talk about shows that he's watching, shows that we think we should all, and that includes all of us here, we should all be watching, and it's always a good conversation with Neil.
Oh, yeah, Neil's great. I watched a recommendation of his from last time, Dying for Sex. It was really good.
Oh, really? The Michelle Williams vehicle. Yeah, yes. It's I've not seen it yet, but everyone says that very thing. Coming up next on this very radio station, Paul Fletcher.
Oh, hi. Yeah, we'll do some White Stripes and some Pearl Jam and Paul Westerberg and Madness and go commercial free at 11:45 thanks to 651 Carpets. Free stuff, too. Wallflowers, ZZ Top tickets one more time at 1:30.
Righteous.
Gorman in the morning is also Gorman on the go. Get the 92 KQRS app and stream live or catch the Gorman in the morning podcast anytime. 92 KQRS.